So the flipper or the jamming drama continues. Yeah, I've been like talking shit because they just won't stop. So I might as well talk shit on the stream. But what I'm probably going to end up doing is switching to cables. I mean, really the only thing that I need to buy to do that is just the stuff for the TVs, the get Jan a Roku and another Roku with hardwired connection and one for in the living room, and everything else is pretty much set to go for hardwired except the Wi-Fi camera on the stream, which I'll keep that there because that's a good way of showing that, you know, they're doing their shit. And also the bit rate on the feed is also there to indicate when they're doing it. It's the bit rate of OBS, so that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. At that point, the only thing they'll be able to do is cut the coax to the cable modem outside, and like they'll get away with that once or twice depending on how lazy I am about it. But yeah, I'll definitely take care of that if that happens. And I'm also I've been wanting to set. I got a switch, or not a switch, but it's a business class router, and it can handle up to 3 WANs. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to set up a tablet I have with some apps that help me achieve what I want to achieve, and then I'll have redundancy. And then if it continues, like, you know, they cut the coax and jam my backup mobile connection, then I'll start having to look at options of shielding and directional antennas to the tower that's over there. There's one over there. There's one over there. So, you know, I mean, I guess I could really go all out and, like, you know, have multiple antennas pointed at multiple towers, you know, and stuff like that. But, you know, I hope that it doesn't get to that point. But in the end, man, I'll have a system that even jammers are going to have a hard time taking offline. You know, they're going to have to stand it. You know, I guess I got a tower over here, a tower over there I can use. So that, you know, they're going to have to stand over there and cut the coax, you know, to jam it at that point. If I go that into it with, you know, but yeah. So there's a program called NetShare. There's a free version and a paid version. It creates a local proxy on your phone that does amazing things. There's ways to take ExpressVPN or reverse proxy things to that, are specifically a VPN, reverse proxy a VPN to the local proxy running on a tablet, cell phone, and you can use a VPN through the proxy. And another thing is if, like, this stuff that's been happening with them jamming my stuff, you know, if I wasn't using a VPN, it wouldn't be able to stay up the way it is at all. It wouldn't. I have tried turning off the VPN, and it will kill the stream every time. The only thing that has kept the stream afloat when it stays afloat and as long as it does is using the VPN. And which, you know, I mean, a lot of people complain or say bad things about ExpressVPN, but, you know, like, I tell you, you know, a VPN can make amazing things that happen, you know. And so run back through of the things you can use to do amazing things with cellular connections is NetShare, Easy Tether, and a VPN attached to all that on top of it. The only thing that sucks about those apps is Easy Tether for, gosh, I don't know, 10 years. that it was the same app. But now, you know, NetShare and EasyTether, they're doing this. A lot of people are. A lot of app developers are. They're making it so every often you have to buy another app, and that kind of sucks. And that seems the way it's going to be now. So, you know, I went like 10 or more years with just you paying with only having the one app, and never had a problem. But now they're all every 2-3 years you got to buy a new app. You know. So what I'm probably going to do is switch everything over to hardwire, leave them with only the option of cutting the coax, and if that happens, I'll deal with that. And I'm probably going to end up setting some redundancy with my, being that my router can handle three independent networks. You know, I used a cell phone for 3 years. I ran a YouTube stream on it. I was able to go at a bit rate higher than I am able to do here. And the only thing about it was, which I'm sure I could make it, so power management in those apps and battery optimization in all those apps needs to be turned off. And the only thing with EasyTether is you might have to unplug the cable. You're going to have to unplug the cable and plug it back in every 2.5 days. If you plug it before 2.5 days, you'll only have a downtime of when you're unplug it and plug it back in. And normally everything on your network reconnects without flaw. Okay, and let me explain the setup with the apps. So what I do is I have NetShare running a local proxy on my tablets, on my mobile connection, and I connect that, which it's an app for a hotspot that uses a local proxy, and then I have EasyTether installed on the device, so I don't connect to the local proxy wirelessly. I do it through EasyTether and a USB cable connected to the laptop. So because if you do it wirelessly through the NetShare app, you got interference, and really wireless isn't fast at all ever. And just using the app EasyTether to connect to that local proxy from the other app to a laptop, and then use the router as your or the laptop as your router. I use Linux, so I have messed with Windows, and I got it working once for a friend. And it's on Linux it's called share it to other computers. On Windows it's called internet connection sharing, but it's a pain in the ass to set up. And you know, I tried to do it a second time after I did it for one friend for his setup, and it didn't work the same. And you know, Microsoft does that all the time. So what you use the router for the Linux box for an old laptop or something for is you plug the USB cable, connect to your NetShare app through the EasyTether app, and then you take the network port or plug a USB network adapter into it. You take the network adapter, plug a cable into the network adapter, plug that into your router, a home router, and that distributes the connection to every device in the house with address leasing. But you have to turn off DHCP in the router, or else the router will lease IP addresses, and the laptop that you're using for the router being internet connection sharing, if that still works, or Linux shared to other computers. And with EasyTether, it used to work simply for the DNS addresses, but something happened, and Debian 9 is different now, and so if you use a newer version of Linux or whatever, what you might have to do after you share the connection from the laptop internet hardwire network cable connection to the router, you are going to want to specify DNS addresses. Wait, let me take that back. If you can't get it to work without address leasing on the router, being you plug it into one of the ports that you plug computers that you want to connect to the internet to, if you can get that working, great. But if you can't, you take the router and plug it into the internet port of the router and specify the addresses that are for the laptop that's doing the routing to the router to do the routing. Because the thing is the DNS addresses, and I found out that if you just specify the DNS addresses in a router and actually use the internet port on the router instead of turning off address leasing and using one of the switch ports and using it as an access point, it pretty much works pretty simply, more so than trying to figure out how to get the software you need working in whatever it is that you're using, Windows or Linux. Yeah, they're back to crashing everything, and I just added another layer of shit. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm just going to end up switching to hardwired cables. You know, what the neighbors do around here as far as calling people, calling someone about it, you know. I mean, after starting this stream and watching it and realize what was happening and everything that's happened since then that I've done, put a router over there by where whatever they came and got, a stationary jammer. Things have been different since then, and yes, last night I couldn't use my Roku. Someone drove by at about 12:15 in the morning, 2:27 or 7:27, the month 7:27, and yeah, I have to wait to use my Roku remote, and yeah, I can't even use my voice thing anymore, and so yeah. So once I get the few things that I need to switch over to hardwire, it's just going to be like remotes and and stuff like that. But maybe there's an infrared option, but I know that the fliperzeros have the freaking huge thing with like 50 infrared LEDs that they can walk by your house, you won't even see the light, and freaking flash every code that's ever been made to every TV, so I don't know. Maybe I will have to use Alexa to control stuff. I don't know. There's some other options. I could put the router in a little box and cut a little hole in it and make it so that I don't know. I have options, and if whatever they're gonna do when they start their stuff, I'll do whatever. But I'm gonna end up probably switching to hardwire, because they can only cut certain things at that point. And then, like I said, talking about the redundancy with the CDMA, the cell setup. But it's been interesting, and I think I know a few people who are involved, but I'm not sure, because really I'm just kind of chasing ghosts and phantoms, and I really haven't been looking at actual people. I just look at who's around, and when they pass by and the stuff starts crashing when they're around, it's like, in another video I said, at 3 a.m. in the morning, I can walk my dogs around this park with the same headphones and the same phone and listen to music uninterrupted all over the park. But if I do it at any time in the day, my music stops. When I was cutting grass here, when I worked for the park, there was times I would just stop trying to listen to music because of it. It's a bunch of people who are capable of buying something and pushing a button to annoy people, or maybe someone else who knows a little bit more about it, or maybe a computer savvy guy in the neighborhood can do some other stuff. But really, like y'all need to get a life,